County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is taking off runway 24, Person County.
Yeah, we apologize for holding you guys up.
Not a problem. Have a good day.
You too. We'll see you.
Okay, on takeoff, fly runway heading, climb, maintain 3000.
Fly runway heading. Maintain 3000?
Correct.
Now look at the windsock, see which way to turn the ailerons.
Off the brakes.
Thanks. A little bumpy, huh?
Fluids traffic Cessna 29 Alpha is 3 miles northwest, entering left downwind 31. Fluids.
Kemper County traffic, Cessna 425 uniform is entering right base 1824, Kemper.
All right, here are your goggles. I have the controls.
Your controls.
Cherokee 59 November.
I'm going to try and get these.
To the north, to the northwest,
And runway 31.
Let me go down to the pattern, 704 golf.
You have the controls.
Sorry about that. My controls.
Turn right to heading of 330.
All right, turn right. Heading 330.
Now, I'd suggest using your heading bug just because it gives you a visual target.
3 mile, 59 running 24, full stop, Kemper.
If you decide in the future to get your instrument, having already gotten used to doing that would be a big help. And then once you're more than 1,000 feet above the ground, then you want to pick up to about, give or take about a 5-degree pitch up and let the airspeed build up a bit. Remember, you're trying to protect your motor. Now, you climb wide open.
Dallas City traffic, Skyhawk 1094 golf, left crosswind.
Now, remember that most of your flying is off the attitude indicator.
fluid traffic.
Probably 60–70% of your time should be on the attitude indicator.
Okay.
Blue Ridge traffic, Grumman 70 Lima is about 2 miles southwest of the airport, climbing to 2,400. We got you inside, Blue Ridge.
All right, thank you.
Blue Ridge traffic 29 Alpha turning left base runway 31, full stop.
Grumman, are you departing or landing?
We are departing to the south, Blue Ridge.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tower City traffic, Skyhawk 7 on 4 golf, left downwind 4, Tower City traffic.
Remember, your feet help. Don't necessarily big movements, but if wind is rocking your wing, your feet help pick it back up.
Okay.
Barnett County 113 November Golf will be approximately 12 miles to the northeast, doing maneuvers at 1,500 Barnett County.
And the other thing is you want very deliberate numbers. So what power setting do you want? What pitch setting do you want? What rate of climb or turn or what heading do you want? All those numbers have to be very decided upon and very precise. Otherwise, you're just trailing in the dark. So 2300, trim as needed.
Tower City
No,
traffic,
fly your
Skyhawk
plane.
7 on 4 golf, left base 4, Tower City traffic.
Can't let the plane fly you.
Blue Ridge traffic, Archer 4483, returning left base, 31 Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge traffic, Archer 4483, X-ray turn 31, train final, 31 Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge traffic, Skylane 5131 November, departing to the southwest, final call, Blue Ridge.
That's 78 Echo, left downwind for runway 27. Twin Lake.
Traffic 8081 Lima is about 7 miles to the south.
right, take me directly to South Boston Airport.
And Wayne, executive traffic, experimental 6 is about 6 miles northwest of the field, inbound landing, Goldsboro, Wayne.
So how you know what direct to the airport is?
That's
No, you're not on that art line. You're off to the side of it about 8-10 miles.
okay.
So how do you go direct?
I would have done this.
Good. I hit enter twice or enter once or... There you go.
Okay. I thought we had set it already. That's what
We
confused me.
did, but it's only set where you set it.
Got
It
it.
doesn't move, the line doesn't move with you.
Okay.
The line is from the point you set to a direct to the point you want it to go.
Okay.
If you don't fly the line, then it's still there. I mean, you can look at it, but it's not going to get you direct to the airport.
Okay.
And when you go to airports like Greensboro, you take off and they run you due south for 5 or 6 miles and then clear your own course, they don't expect you to turn around and come back. They expect you to use the big D button with the arrow through it.
Yep.
And then this one works the same way. Hit the D. And hit activate. There you go.
Blue Ridge traffic, Columbia.
Now, you're going to find this easier if you use your feet a little bit.
Okay.
Because every time you roll, the nose gets adverse yaw because of the drag on the wing making the most lift, and the nose wags back and forth, which makes it kind of hard to stop it dead on a point because it overshoots and then comes back. Or you get it exactly where you want it, but then you roll back level and it goes the wrong way.
Back turning left crosswind, and then we'll be departing the area to the southwest, Blue Ridge.
And Wayne, executive traffic, experimental 6 is base to final runway 5, full stop. Thank you, sir.
Lakes traffic, Light 431 Papa. We are 5 miles to the southwest of the airfield. We're entering on a left 45 entry for runway 27, Twin Lakes.
Tyler City traffic, Mooney 888 Romeo XO, 7 miles to the north, entering on left 45, runway 4, Tyler City.
Blue Ridge traffic, Cessna 173, Tango Quebec, departing the area to the southwest, last call, Blue Ridge.
Air 2 is clear approach in 01, east southeast bound.
Blue Ridge traffic, Cherokee 5783 Whiskey, left crosswind 31, Blue Ridge. Tyler City traffic, Mooney 888 Romeo Echo, 5 mile left 45, runway 4, Tyler City.
And Wayne 6 traffic, Pyramidal 6 left downwind 5, full stop, Wayne 6.
Smooth right, 88 Romeo Echo. Blue Ridge traffic, Cherokee 5783 Whiskey is departing air to the southeast, passing 2,200 feet. Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge traffic, Columbia 600 Tango X-ray is about 10 miles to the east will be a practice. RNAV 381 approach to Blue Ridge.
Blue Ridge traffic, Cherokee 4770, Lima about 10 to the west, inbound, Blue Ridge.
Traffic, lane 43 1 Papa on a left 45 for left downwind entry for runway 27, full stop, wind lane.
Tyler City traffic, Mooney 888 Romeo Echo, left downwind runway 4, Tyler City.
Your attitude indicator.
I'm not sure why it keeps going up and down.
Our regional traffic, Cherokee 1970 Hotel is 25 miles to the south.
My guess is that you're letting the plane fly where it wants to fly instead of putting it where it needs to be.
Okay. And I'm missing something. I tried.
Well, you've
trim.
got to decide what it ought to look like. Get it to stay there, and then see what the trim is.
Okay.
Runway 5, Wayne.
If once you get it stable, it pitches up on you, then it's trim. But only after you get it stable can you really tell for sure what it's going to need.
Tyler City traffic, Mooney 888 Romeo Echo, left base 4.
Foggles traffic, Skyline 501 Alpha Tyler, we are now 3 miles to the east and down to the left base, runway 2
Hey,
left.
what I see is that you're kind of chasing stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, okay, I'm off 200 feet, instead of saying I'm off 200 feet, you're just kind of staring at whatever's moving and trying to get it to quit. And that doesn't work well. So right now, I have the controls.
Okay.
So the first thing is I'm just going to get it level. All right? Okay, so now it's staying fairly level, so it trim's not off very much. And that's what level looks like. Somewhere just under the 2.5 line. All right, now I can decide what else I want to do. So I could push it over and put the nose down a tiny bit and wait. Not needing it to happen very fast. And one of the mistakes people make instrument flying is they want things to happen quickly. You don't want things to happen quickly if you're instrument flying, but you do want them to happen.
Right.
Now, notice that the airspeed picked up, so guess what I'm doing with my yoke?
Pulling.
Pulling? So now I'm at 3,000. I quit doing that. What does the yoke do? It pitches back up because it wants to slow down. I don't want to go back up. I just want to stay level. So hence, it's going to take a little while for that pressure to go away. It isn't going to happen instantly. Once the plane gets back to its normal speed, minus a tiny bit of bouncing around for wind, then I now can stay relaxed. If I look back after about 30 seconds or a minute and I've climbed a tiny bit, probably the trim's not quite right.
Well, it looks like it's coming down a little bit.
Yeah, but see how hard I'm working? But what I did was I controlled this. Instead of looking at these saying, oh shit, I'm off, I looked at this and said, oh, I'm pitched up too high or I'm pitched down too much.
Okay, I was paying attention to this too much.
And this is the worst one because it's always behind. It's like your 3-year-old always lagging behind.
Okay.
It gives you a trend pretty quickly. Like we're coming down, it's just not a reliable indicator as to how much.
Okay.
Because it has up to a 9 or 10 second lag to it. All right, you have the controls.
All right, my controls.
Yeah, you would kind of think, well, I can look at the vertical speed, know what I'm doing, but not if you don't know where you're starting and ending up.
Right.
You've got to do everything here to correct all the other gauges, but all the corrections start right there. And that's the reason people have trouble flying instrument who aren't trained, and they start to chase the airplane, and it just gets worse and worse till they lose control of it. That's unfortunately a very typical scenario.
Yeah.
And they also tend to start staring at the one gauge that's getting really bad without realizing that not only are they going up and down, but they've now rolled over into a 35, 40 degree bank. And so the training has to be to go back to the attitude indicator and fix it. Now, if we want to land at South Boston, we need to know something about South Boston. So we can take the big knob and get out of the nav drawer over into the waypoint drawer. So I see it's Tuck Airport. Airport's 420 feet above sea level. They have runway 1 and 19. They have AWAS on 28, 125. And I can flip that up and listen to see what's going on.
Okay.
Sky condition clear. Temperature 18 Celsius. Dew point 03 Celsius. Altimeter 3006.
Did I change it now?
Density altitude 1000. Danville Regional Airport.
Oh,
Automated
that's
weather
Danville. That's
observation.
not South Boston.
1844 Zulu.
How did that happen?
360 at 10. Visibility 10. Sky conditions clear. Temperature 18 Celsius. Dew point 03 Celsius. Altimeter 3006. Remarks. Density altitude 1000. Danville Regional Airport.
Traffic lane on fuel available.
$3.99 a gallon.
Airport, South Boston. Automated weather observation 1844 Zulu weather. Wind 340 at 7. Visibility 10. Clear below 12,000. Temperature 17 Celsius. Dew point 3. Altimeter 3006.
Avgas fuel available. $3.99.
Okay, turn left to heading of 330.
Okay.
Ascend and maintain 2,000 feet.
All right, turn left, heading 330, maintain 2,000 feet.
Thanks, County Traffic. Skyline 2675 Lima is 10 miles to the east, inbound for runway 9. Thanks, County Traffic.
Way 2 minutes from skydiving over Orange County, 14,500 feet below. Use caution, do not overfly the field.
Now,
That was too abrupt.
if you start to get behind, get the plane back level and then fix one thing at a time.
Okay.
If you can keep everything subtle, like you can't go up with no power. If you're going to come down by reducing power, which is a good decision, you have to let the plane come down.
Okay.
Cherokee 8432 Charlie.
Now, you're not flying this. Whatever you're looking at, this is going like this. Got to decide what you want it to look like and keep it there.
Okay.
You're going from level to down to level, down. There's Ward Burton's house.
Who's that?
Race car driver.
Oh, don't know racing cars. Sorry.
Will be approaching from the southwest, entering a downwind of 6.
NASCAR, I'm assuming?
Yeah, he used to be. He's retired.
Davis County Intercom, November 853 Charlie Tango. We're currently 10 miles to the east. We'll be crossing midfield for left downwind, runway 6 Davis County. Any traffic, please advise.
Thanks, County Traffic. Skyline 2675 Lima is 4 miles out, inbound for runway 6.
Okay, roger that. Charlie Tango, we're currently 8 miles to the east, and we are going to cross midfield for the left downwind, runway 6 Davis County.
Okay, let's make a left turn to heading of 150.
All right, left turn, heading 150.
March Innocent 8432 Charlie, 1 mile final.
Now remember, when you get to level, you bring the power back up so that the plane doesn't want to fight you.
have you in sight.
Because if you bring the nose up with the power back, it's going to get really heavy.
Okay.
Not what you want to have happen. All right, descend to maintain 1,500.
All right, descend and maintain 1,500.
Left downwind, 20 copy.
Level, unless you're purposely turning. And if so, it should never be past the green triangle up here.
Okay.
Fire on back. The nose is up. You don't want to climb. You want to come down. So you want level or below to come down. You want to keep your wings level. Remember, about 60% of your time ought to be right here.
Yep.
And you ought to decide ahead of time what it needs to look like and make it happen. William Tuck, traffic, South Boston, Cessna 2 Papa Alphas, 3 miles north, inbound for downwind runway 1. All right, take your goggles off. Airport's right in front of you. You're on a 45 entry for the downwind.
Okay.
Amazing how good that controller was. Now, remember your yardstick. How far up the wing should that airport be?
Half.
And use that as your measuring. Also, don't go below 1,400 because the airport's 400 feet.
Okay.
Until you're ready to start coming down. One of the things I see over and over and over and over and over and over and over is people go to a new airport and they just totally forget about altitude. Like, oh, well, it just doesn't matter anymore. Go somewhere new, you aren't used to looking at it. It actually matters more that you get it right than it does.
Oh, I would agree.
Because if you're all over the, you're 600 feet here and whatever. All right, so give me your best shot at this.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston.
Now, the other rule of thumb is if we aren't on the ground at the halfway point, we're going around.
Okay.
That doesn't mean force it on. It means make a good landing before the halfway point. Wear out your pattern. Got a directional gyro here that can help you figure out where the pattern ought to be. If you look at it, don't skid that rudder so much. Now, you're kind of making a U-turn here on a rectangle.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston.
It's a lot easier if you do a rectangle because you can roll the wing up and take a look.
You're right.
Those feet. That nose ought not to be wagging back and forth. Your feet ought to be dancing. And slow. Power out. You can't land with the power in.
It was barely. I mean, it was like.
I know, but it'll
okay.
still float you and float you. All right. Go ahead.
Are we staying in the pattern?
Yep.
Okay.
This traffic, 181 Foxtrot Alpha, turning left, crosswind for runway 6. Henderson traffic.
This is traffic 181 Foxtrot Alpha. Be aware there are a couple birds hanging out there right on the departure leg. Henderson.
All right, you're 800 feet above
Okay.
sea level,
Traffic
above
181
airport, I
Foxtrot
mean.
Alpha, turning on left downwind for runway 6.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston.
Papa 29 Tango, turning base 20.
Now, one ought to be right off your shoulder, off your wingtip using this.
Yep. Pattern altitude is 1400.
Correct.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Henderson traffic 181 Foxtrot Alpha, turning on left base for runway 6. Henderson traffic. Henderson traffic 181 Foxtrot Alpha, turning left off final for runway 6. Henderson traffic.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston.
Henderson traffic 747 Papa Kilo Cherokee 12 miles south-southwest on runway 24.
Don't skid your turn. Look at where your ball is. Now, you're not using your directional gyro to help you. Turning a tiny bit and lifting the wing to see, but you're not visualizing either looking at the ground or here. If that's where the runway is, that ought to be off your wingtip.
You're right.
The other thing, you're down to 500 feet, which is okay. Just how far away are you?
South Boston. Traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston.
The other thing is, you don't want it to look normal. You don't want it to look, it's a shorter runway, but it's not super short. So you don't want to come in dragging the treetops. You want to make it look more normal.
Okay.
About 10 miles to the south.
So this, right now, you're looking pretty good. And when you land, remember the wind's bouncing all over the place. You got to work hands and feet to stay on the center line.
Okay.
The reason when you aren't using your feet out here, it concerns me a little bit because it probably aren't going to use them well if you get closer. That's kind of your warm-up time. Good. There you go. Now, the reason we're going sideways is
Because of the wind.
no, because you dropped the right wing.
So it's dropped that wing.
Didn't you drop my wing?
I know. I screwed up.
Okay. Go ahead. That's part of why we're out here, is to push you through the challenges again.
I know. That's what learning is about.
That is. Increase your comfort zone. Expand your comfort zone.
It's a cute little airport.
Where I started out my flight school back in the 1980.
Oh, really? Huh.
Got
Where did
probably as many landings at this airport as anybody flying.
Did you live out here?
Lived up in this area, yeah.
Okay.
Traffic Grumman 70 Lima, 5 miles to the northwest on the 45, sending out 3,000 feet for left downwind runway 83. After traffic.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, person count, South Boston. Oh, bad habits. Remember where you are, Tom.
That's probably one of the easier mistakes to make because your brain's working so hard at other things. Remember your feet. Feet aren't doing very much today.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Anderson traffic 747 Papa Kilo, 2,100 descending for left downwind correction only 24. Be looking for traffic.
ago. I felt some rudder that time.
Henderson traffic, 21 Foxtrot Alpha, we have contact. We'll be completing behind you on the left downwind. Nothing in sight.
Okay, make the turn.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1.
Right, bring this all the way around number 08 till it's right on your nose.
Traffic, 21 Foxtrot Alpha, turning left for runway, turning left on
12,
on,
08.
crosswind for runway
Keep
24.
coming. Trust me, 08. Now roll out.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston. Overshot.
Good. 500 feet up, 3/4 of a mile out, right on the money. Don't let the flaps hang you up here. They balloon you. You gotta stay ahead of them.
Traffic 181 Foxtrot Alpha, we're going to extend our downwind a little bit to the braking station.
Yeah, Roger, I got you inside the county final here momentarily, runway 24.
That's better.
Yep.
Tiny bit low in the flare. I was a little bit concerned there, but not bad.
Okay. I guess I was focusing more on the wing.
Oh, you did okay on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's where my focus was. I know. You're going to tell me it's multi-focus.
Multitasking, that's absolutely.
Yeah. I think the wind is just variable. It's more than...
It is.
It's not really...
It is.
One direction or another. That's crazy, isn't it?
And it picks up and it dies out.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's normal.
Henderson traffic, 181 Foxtrot Alpha, turning on left base for runway 24. Henderson traffic.
What I do is, I have an idea about what it's going to take because of the wind, but I never prejudge what I'm going to have to do.
Okay.
Like, if I know the wind's kind of coming off the left side occasionally, I may kind of file that away in my database that I may need a tiny bit of left wing down, but I'm not rigid about it. I can't prejudge and get it right because it changes.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston.
See how slick knowing the heading is?
Yep. South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Henderson traffic, 181 Foxtrot Alpha on final, with 24. Henderson traffic.
Orange County traffic, Twin Otter 690 Mike Fox, 2 minutes, will jump away, 2 minutes, will skydiving over Orange County, 14,500 feet. below. Use caution, do not overfly the field.
Too close. Is that a racetrack?
Yep, South Boston Speedway.
Huh.
Probably home to more past NASCAR drivers than any other track in the country.
Wow.
I wouldn't say they've all raced there, but a huge chunk of them have.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston.
Farmville traffic, Twin Comanche 73 Yankees, about 6 miles out for practice RNAV, runway 3 approach. There'll be a
You didn't trust me on that 08 again.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston.
Work those feet. There you go.
That was better.
That was a lot better.
I know you're sitting there worried, oh my gosh, he forgot everything I taught him. No?
No comment.
Wow.
I'm just waiting for you to put everything I taught you back into motion.
Okay.
And you did it that time.
It's been a week. So, and last time I flew was in the nighttime.
True, it all becomes more challenging.
About got used to daytime. I mean, nighttime, now I gotta do daytime again. South Boston traffic. 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Orange County traffic, Twin Otter, 690 Mike Fox, high left downwind, runway 26, Orange County.
South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston. Great. Any comment?
A little bit behind on your feet.
All right.
Other than that, you weren't bad.
I mean, the wind was all over the place.
Yeah, but there's no excuse.
Okay. I got no excuse.
I know it's easy to feel like, well, this is very challenging. That's true. But the bottom line is, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, you're right. Challenging is one thing, but doing it right is the objective, and that's all I can do.
Yep, do your best to get better.
Yep.
I guess, over the years, I've gone through spells where I wanted somebody to understand why I was making a mistake. So I'd say, well, this is what I was thinking, or this is what I was trying to accomplish, And the answer is, well, it wasn't right. Got to get it right.
Yeah, you're right.
Understand that, you know, your thinking may be a little bit behind here. That's okay. But you got to figure out what it's going to take to fix it.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston.
Now, you know, at the end of the day, if you run out of controls and you're punching them all the way to the stops and whatever else, and you still can't control it, now you got a good excuse. But as long as what you're doing is just behind, then it's a matter of doing more of it till you brain figures out how to catch up with it.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Much rudder there. It's also one of the reasons I tell, you know, students, you know, there's going to come a day where you're slamming it to controls all the way to the stops. If you're too timid, you aren't going to make good landings either. You've got to have confidence that this is a big movement, but that's what I got to do for a second or two, then I got to take it back out. So it's, you know, kind of whatever's needed to solve the problem, and don't mind working hard, experimenting or whatever. Put it together.
Is that a river down there?
The Dan River.
Okay. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston.
Yeah, there's a kind of a tendency to think that road's perpendicular to the runway.
It's not.
It's not.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston.
Work those feet as needed. On down, on a windy day, you definitely want to be a little bit closer. There you go. Keep working. That was a nice touchdown.
It was. Start out that way. Well, lesson really I'm learning is that there's no formula. There's only doing what you have to do.
Yep.
Every landing is different.
Or there's a very general formula, but there's not a always do it this way and you'll always
Right.
be perfect.
Especially on a day like today. You know, when it's a dead calm wind, and there's a formula that you can pretty much count on almost. But when the wind is all over the place, you got to be thinking.
Yep. Thinking and reacting.
Number 2, now 6 miles north of the field, passing 2,800 descending.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston. Is that a shopping center?
Where?
That big buildup.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just on regional traffic, November 254, we are gonna get down for a beginning of downwind on runway 3, left downwind runway 3.
South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston.
Farmville traffic, November 47914 is 6-mile final, runway 3, flying the RNAV approach in Farmville, runway 3, 47914.
Remember, you got to look around the nose. When that nose comes up enough to hide, you're a blind man and it's feeling in the dark for a sharp knife. When you need to kind of cut your vision off to the corner a tiny bit.
Yeah. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning crosswind for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning downwind for runway 1, South Boston.
Farmville traffic, 47914, 3-mile final, runway 3, Farmville.
South Boston traffic, Cherokee 4058 Whiskey is 10 miles to the northeast. Going to overfly the field under downwind runway 1, South Boston.
I didn't catch how far out he was.
10 miles.
Okay. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 1, South Boston. South Boston traffic, 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 1, South Boston. little hard, but I kept the nose up.
Good.
Orange County traffic, Twin Otter 690 Mike Fox, 2 minutes till jump is away. 2 minutes for skydiving over Orange County. 14,500 feet below. Use caution, do not overfly the field.
All right, head west and climb, maintain 3,000.
Okay, heading west, maintain and climb 3,000.
Tango, approximately 5 miles south of the field. South Boston traffic, Cherokee 4058 Whiskey is turning downwind, midfield runway 1, South Boston.
Tuck traffic, 8062 Yankee, taxi runway 1, tuck traffic.
We got about 11 miles to go.
Traffic in pattern for South Boston, what's your position?
4058 Whiskey is turning base for runway 1, South Boston.
And South Boston Cessna 2 Pop Alpha leaving the area to the west.
South Boston traffic, Cherokee 58 Whiskey, turning final, runway 1, South Boston. Southeast Greensboro, 5529 Tango, downwind 17 southeast.
Chris, friends are saying 320 at 5.
All right, there you fun goggles again.
Okay. You got the controls?
I do. Scary thought as that is.
Hey, Justin, where are you going with my airplane?
There's one trip around the pattern to check the airspeed indicator that the pitot was blocked on earlier.
It didn't work last night?
No, it didn't work last night at all.
Let me know when you might take over.
You have the controls.
All right, my controls.
Tuck traffic, 8062 Yankee, departing 1, remaining in the pattern, tuck traffic. When I get back, I'm going to park it in front of the fuel pump. Just want to make sure it's right.
Okay, turn left to heading 210.
Turn left, heading 210.
Tango.
Williamsburg traffic, bearing 6680 Golf. 120 miles to the northwest, inbound for landing. Quest Airport advisory.
Tuck traffic, 8062 Yankees, maneuvering for final to land runway 19er, tuck traffic.
One 3 at Williamsburg, 98 Orange County, Piper 2262 Quebec. With Tylo, 2,000 feet, inbound for runway 3, Martin County. Hey, Chris, switch back over to 12345 for a minute.
Okay, why don't we cross over midfield just like we are, and then you can turn in under me. I'll go out a little further.
Farmville traffic, Skyline 501 Alpha Charlie. We are departing the pattern to the north, last call, Farmville.
Henderson Officer traffic, this is Cub 160 Tango Juliet, flight at 2. We are 5 miles southwest of the airport. We cross midfield, enter left traffic runway 6, Henderson.
Duck traffic. Comanche 8062 Yankee. Clear 1019er, taxi to fuel pump, duck traffic.
Traffic 2675, within 5 miles out to the west, inbound for runway 9.
Orange County traffic, Twin Otter 690 Mike Fox, high left downwind, runway 26, Orange County.
Traffic 2675, limit straight in approach to runway 9. 2 miles out.
Henderson traffic, flight of 2 Cubs, 2 miles southwest of the airport, across midfield, enter runway 6, Henderson.
Urban traffic 2675, Lima on final, runway 9.
Henderson traffic, Sirius November 811 Delta Mike, 10 miles through the west of the field, inbound to land straight in, runway 6. We'll be looking out for the flight of Cubs. And flight of Cubs, we're about 1 mile southwest of the field, now about to cross over midfield for Henderson traffic. Thanks. Chris, you want to start cutting towards the midfield? I'll turn with you.
Chuck Airport, South Boston, automated.
Take 21 West, keep turning left base for 3-1, Blue Ridge. Mike, what's the altimeter read over there?
Okay, turn left to 180.
Turning left, 180.
Blue Ridge, 21 West, keep turning final.
Traffic at Liberty 108, coming midfield for 24 for a midfield cross and a teardrop to runway 24, Brookdale.
Okay, so now we're going to do the unusual attitudes.
Okay.
Left down for runway 24, standing by Brookdale.
All right, so I have the controls.
Your controls.
What I want you to do is keep your eyes open and watch what happens. All right? So the first one is the climb. So if it were straight ahead or a slight climbing turn, it would look like this. Hear the motor?
Yep.
So the recovery is wide open, drop the nose, roll the wings level.
Okay.
Pick up the speed, keep the plane from going up or down. You don't have to go back down to where you were. You just got to get it level, under control.
Okay.
Get back to cruise, pull the power back to normal cruise.
Okay.
Pretty simple. All right? Watching it, I'm going to give you another one, and I'm going to let you take over.
Okay.
All right? You have the controls.
My controls.
Wide open, drop the nose, roll the wings.
Liberty 108, crossing midfield to runway 24, Brookdale.
Good. Now, you got to get a tiny bit quicker on that.
Okay.
Because what you don't want to do is stall it.
Got it.
Okay? All right, one more.
Okay.
You have the controls.
And Thurston County Unicom, Donnie, can I get a radio check?
That fast enough?
Pretty good. You don't want to push over so hard you float everybody, but you also don't want to stall.
Okay.
All right, so the other one is coming down. So that one is going to look like this. So we've got normal cruise, and so what happens is it gradually rolls into a turn. May not even feel it. As it rolls in, the nose starts to fall. About now, you hear it. You have the controls.
My controls.
Fire out, all the way, roll level, bring the nose up slowly. Because otherwise, you're coming down about 1,500 feet a minute. Do you really want to continue to do that until you get it back under control? Then bring the power back up when you get back to normal flying speed. So what you're trying to do is not overstress the plane, but
Correct.
you also don't want to fly in the ground if you happen to be kind of low.
Yep.
All right, makes sense?
Yep.
All right, this time close your eyes.
All right.
Now, Keep them closed.
Okay.
So what do you think the plane's doing?
I'm listening to the engine and I'm thinking, I can't tell. Sounds a little fast, like I'm going down, but it doesn't sound dramatically fast.
Wings level?
Do I think wings are level?
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
No, I want you to tell me what you think without looking.
I think it's going down because the engine is picking up. I think it's probably turning a little bit.
Which direction?
It feels like it's going this way.
Okay.
What?
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay. It's definitely going down. It's definitely going this way down. Can't tell anymore. Sounds fast. Oh, snap.
Now which way is it
right.
going?
We're going right, down.
Look out.
Oh, snap. Wow. You really don't know.
You really don't. And
That's
you've
scary.
got to understand that the way out of this is right here, not inner ear.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Now, you were correct. I did have it in a slight left turn, and I kind of let it stable, and then I rolled abruptly right to level.
Yeah, but it felt like you were going. You continued.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the point to make.
Okay.
All right. Close your eyes.
All right. Eyes closed.
Now, what Greg likes to do, apparently, is he likes to just kind of bounce the plane around a little bit and then say, you have it. All right, so it's like this. So he's going to wiggle it and rock it, stuff like kind of like that. You have the controls.
My controls.
So you're adding power coming down at 115 knots.
Well, it was going down, but then
You weren't level.
you're right. I overreacted.
No, you got to think about this.
Okay.
Noise getting louder, I got to get rid of power.
Yep.
Noise getting quiet, I got to add power.
Okay.
Right? I got the controls.
All right. Close my eyes.
Yep.
Okay. Oh God.
You have the controls.
My controls.
What do you see? What do you see?
I
What
see
are
we're
you
going
doing?
down.
Look outside.
I'm looking outside, but I reduced the power because we're going down.
Right, but you got to roll the wings level
Oh.
so you can get the nose back up.
Okay.
But we just kept coming down. I don't know how much we lost because I wasn't paying attention, but
All right.
500-600 feet.
Okay. Want me to close my eyes again?
All right, close your eyes.
All right.
You have the controls.
My controls.
All right, out, nose, wings level, nose up. You can't wait. Coming down 2,000 feet a minute.
Okay. So, faster reaction.
Now, you're smooth. That's good. You don't want to snatch at it,
Right.
but you want to get the job done. Because if this happened at 1,500 feet,
Yeah.
and you're coming down 2,000 feet a minute, it'd be a little bit of a deal.
Okay.
All right, one more.
All right, one more. Oh, jeez.
You have the controls.
My controls.
All right, straight ahead.
Where are we?
1,600 feet.
I have
Hey,
no
you're looking around. You're supposed to be on the gauges.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm on the gauges now.
1,600 feet.
Okay. When you said that, I never mind.
Person County, Cessna 2 Papa Alpha. We're about 4 miles north inbound for landing runway 6, person.
you for staying in the pattern.
Fun, wasn't it?
It was fun. It was so weird how I didn't know. I was so sure and then I didn't know.
Yep. And that's the point that, you know, you have to get to with instruments. You cannot believe you're in a ear. You have got to believe the gauges.
Okay. I learned that lesson.
All right, you can take your goggles off.
Okay.
First County traffic, Terminal 7 Tango Hotel, downwind for runway 6.
Where is he?
Got you in sight, Kenneth.
Oh, right there.
We're behind you.
Someone for Kenneth. Forward to Mount Blue 25 Charlie X-ray, 5-mile final, RNAV 31 full stop, Blue Ridge. First County traffic, Experimental 17 Hotels, crosswind for, or base turn for 6, full stop, First County.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is downwind for runway 6, Person County.
Okay.
Looking at Fast Liberty 108, final for runway 24.
Original traffic, Liberty 144, turning left downwind for runway 24, close down.
Forward to Mount Blue 25 Charlie X-ray, 2-mile final, 31 full stop, Blue Ridge.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning base for runway 6, Person County.
County traffic, Experimental 7 Tango Hotels, clear the exit, Person.
Person County traffic 172 Papa Alpha is turning final for runway 6, Person County. That was pretty bad.
Well, your brain had gotten used to South Boston.
Why do you think that?
Right, the stripes are only half as wide.
Oh.
So you're sitting there, though all of a sudden it's looking like South Boston, you're flaring back, the stripes are wider.
Oh. Okay, well, that's not an excuse. That's that's a diagnosis.
It's a reason, but it's not an excuse.
That's pretty sad. Okay.
But it's a good lesson.
It is a good lesson. I got to remember the picture in front of me.
Yep, the distance, angle.
Person County Traffic 172 Papa Alpha is exiting runway 6 via Alpha 5, Person County. So 6 o'clock is your next one?
4 o'clock. 30 or 4, one or the other.
Okay. Learned a lot today. Are you using this one or the other one?
I'm not sure we're going to use either one of them.
What's 4 o'clock?
I have been using a different plane.
Oh, they bring their own?